All right, today is May 3rd, 2021. This is the Kubernetes CSI implementation meeting. Let's go ahead and go down our release statuses, starting with 119. I think we're just trying to fix the CSI proxy image promotion process. I think, Jing, you have some updates here.
Yes, just talked with SIG release recently, and it's still manual process, and that they point me a PR that seems we should follow, and which will set up this CSI proxy like an artifact release from staging to release. I will try to make a PR, like follow that example, and then see probably some people from SIG release can help us to approve that.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much. Moving on to 121, we are almost done with releasing our sidecars. I believe Snapshotter is released. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Cool. And then
is the snapshot controller released?
Oh, everything.
Okay.
Oh, I think I may forget to tag something. Okay, let me actually add that. Yeah, but it's already cut. Snapshot controller, sidecar. But I think I need to do a client tag. I forgot about that. I'll do that.
Sounds good. Cool. And then, so I think out of all the sidecars, we just have the resizer left. And there was one PR pending. How is that looking?
That looks good, Michelle. Let's just look. I think the feature gate is implemented. Seems to be well. It just needs. I think I was just waiting for your LG approve. Actually, I LGTM'd it.
Oh, okay. You can go ahead and improve it.
All right.
I think that's fine. I think as long as there's a feature gate around it, I'm okay with that.
Okay, I will approve it and make a release today.
Okay. Oh, I guess it did add. It added. We have to remove the annotations from the PV object. Did the resizer already have permissions to modify the PV object?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, and not just the status part.
It should have PV. I don't think PV have status.
Okay.
PV had status. I don't remember it. But anyway, but PV, the external resizer can modify PV because it sets spec dot capacity it sets. So yeah, it should have the permissions.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see. So I think that's all the sidecars. Once all the sidecars are updated, then we can update the host path driver. Also, I think CSI Proxy is planning on releasing the GA version, but I think we're gonna track that outside of the rest of this because it looks like there's still a bit of work that needs to be done there. I think that's it for the sidecars.
For the host path driver, I think I started looking into consolidate or modifying our YAML deployment files so that we have one alternative with all sidecars running in the same pod as the driver. That may help with the performance issues that we had with Kubernetes testing. And it makes more sense because it is more realistic deployment. But for ABAC rule testing, we also need the alternative deployments where every sidecar runs in its own pod with its own service account. So both will be present in the host path driver repo. That's my goal in the default. For Kubernetes 118 or Kubernetes 120, that should be the deployment that is more realistic or more like what will actually be used in production with all sidecars in the same pod. So that's my current goal.
Cool.
And I think we should try that for this release. It shouldn't be too hard.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think the other thing regarding those trying to debug those tests, I think it would be good if like I think there was a potential concern that like there's some increased resource usage in our later sidecar versions. I think it would be nice if we can somehow get like, you know, resource usage comparisons before and after we upgraded the sidecars. I think it's not possible to do with kind or not easily doable with kind clusters right now. So we might have to, you know, potentially try to get metrics from a different platform.
Yeah. I asked in that one mail thread or one issue that we had with Kubernetes folks, I wonder whether it is possible to do in Brow, because each Brow job runs as one container essentially, and Docker runs inside that container. That might be one C group, and it might be possible to observe how much CPU cycles that entire group has used. I'm not sure whether it's possible. I really don't know, but it might be. Then we could get one value for the entire Brow job, reflecting how much resources that job consumed, and that is basically what we are interested in reducing. If we run the same tests before and after a change, and we get that one number down, or it at least doesn't increase, that should just give us some confidence. But right now, we just really don't have any good way of summarizing how much resources our tests need. Yeah, that's the indeed the problem. We only have some circumstantial evidence that tests are failing more often, but I look back at what kind of observations we had when doing the update, and I'm not convinced that it actually was the version update that made things worse.
Yeah,
none of my observations.
It's pretty hard to say
that.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's one approach. If we can get like the whole kind job resource usage before and after, that's one way. The other way I was thinking is we actually run these tests on a non-kind platform where it's easier to get collect resource usage metrics. I think that's something I can try to find someone from my team to try to look at, unless you know, someone else also has some folks available that are willing to look into this.
Yeah, I don't. So if you can find someone, that would be good. Just for everyone's information, the host path driver also has seen a recent update for the deployment helper scripts, where it now has uniform labels according to the Kubernetes recommendations with KSIO, app, instance, and so on. And there's a destroy script that looks at those labels and destroys everything belonging to a deployment. That has been pending. This PR has been pending for a while and went through various iterations with a contributor. But I merged it today, and then promptly found that there are some follow-up fixes needed. So I have another PR pending, touching that again. But I think that will be in the next release too.
Cool. Awesome. Sounds good. All right. Next up, volume populators.
We're trying to get a meeting with Tim to approve the KEP for the enhancements freeze, and so far it's been radio silence. So I pinged him again. I sent a request last week, got nothing. Pinged him again today. I don't know how to escalate if we don't get any kind of response. But,
Okay, sounds good. I mean, you can, if you don't hear back in the next few days, you can ping me, and I can use my secret channel to try to get something.
I copied Saad
Okay.
on the mail, hoping that he would apply some pressure. I don't know if he's distracted or if he has the
Also,
same.
I
that
think
he's busy
Saad
with
has.
I don't know. I was just wondering.
The BKM is to ping Michelle to get Saad's attention, and then Saad can get attention from someone else.
Yeah. I think Saad's calendar is just as bad as Tim's now. So,
Wonderful.
yeah. All
Okay.
right. Sounds good. All right. And then I think expansion we've talked about. I think there was also, so regarding releases, actually, we just released some stuff. We might have to do a patch release, but we found
Oh.
a pretty bad bug in the external attacher on Friday.
And Provisioner also has a pending bug. Bug fix, I think, has been almost merged, but yeah, that also might
Yeah.
need a patch release. It's a less
Okay.
important thing, but it's actually it was found by someone who is using storage capacity tracking in real life in a cluster with network attached storage, and that was one configuration that we are not currently covering well. And we don't have E2E tests, and exactly that part broke. It's actually he actually broke it himself with a previous bug fix, but at least that code is getting exercised. But yeah, unfortunately, only when people actually try out the releases.
Okay. Is it possible at all to like try to test that with mock or?
I've tried to come up with some approach. I think it may be doable. It basically depends on changing the topology. That was the actual problem. So it might be possible to fix something by modifying, say, the CSI node object while the test is running. So yeah, it is doable. On the other hand, I didn't actually write a test yet because we also have incoming changes for that whole mock testing with a replacement of a mock driver with a host path driver. I keep that in mind, and I may try to do something, but right now it's kind of difficult. So,
By the way, why are we replacing the mock driver with host path driver? The mock driver has.
Because we have two drivers that basically are both used for testing. And we at some point discussed that and decided to consolidate on one driver. And then we'll pick the host path driver because it was the more feature complete driver at that point. At the end, when we are done, you can do everything that you could do with mock driver, also with a host path driver.
We need the JavaScript hooks that we are using in a bunch of places. I don't think the.
Do you need JavaScript hooks or do you need error injection? Because the error injection, that was something that we wanted to replace within test Go callbacks, and then making the driver just a proxy. So the JavaScript hooks are kind of going away, but there is a replacement already now where you don't inject JavaScript code, you write Go code in your own test program, and that gets invoked.
Okay.
And that's in Kubernetes right now. It's currently done with a mock driver as proxy, but that will be seamless. The same code, the same feature will be in the host path driver.
Okay, interesting. And I wonder though, like if with the host path driver we'll run into. We should not, but yeah, it might be that we'll run into some SLNX issues and then we'll have to fix a bunch of things. But I think that's actually good because we'll catch issues earlier.
All right, sounds good. If anyone has any other features from the mock driver that they really like, let's call them out so we make sure we get them added to the host path driver. But the intention is that all the tests we have in Kubernetes today using mock driver should be replaceable with host path driver.
And there is a pending PR using the canary images of the host path driver doing exactly that. I haven't checked whether they are now passing. There were some issues with pulling the canary image, but all tests are passing now. So there is a work in progress PR using the host path driver instead of a mock driver, and all tests are still running and passing.
Sounds good.
So all the CSI sanity tests should run host path driver as well, right?
We are not doing that in Kubernetes, but we do that in our pull requests for the host path driver. Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, that is one part that wasn't being tested with a mock driver. We only did the sanity testing with a host path driver.
Okay.
I think. Well, I don't remember. No, wait. You're right. Well, there is some sanity testing that was run with custom scripts in the CSI test repo. But yeah, both drivers essentially pass the sanity testing.
Yeah, both. I think we are running the sanity test with both drivers.
Yeah.
Oh, did
Cool.
y'all have some special tests just for like some error checks?
That's
that
the
only
error.
for
Yeah.
mock driver, or does that also work?
So the first thing that we did already in the previous release was replace the JavaScript error injection with that callback or this proxy mode.
Okay.
And that same code is now in the host path driver, so it works exactly the same way with both drivers.
Okay. Great.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah, I think definitely like consolidating the two is the right step in the right direction. So thanks for taking that on. Going back to the bug, we're gonna have to do a patch release, at least for the external attacher. This casting here, we found it's actually, it doesn't always cast to a volume attachment object. In the deletion case, there's like this deleted, there's some like deleted situation where the object could be that. And so currently this is just causing external attacher to segfault when you're running under high load. I think at least we found this in external attacher. I think we need to do a sweep of all the other sidecars with the informers and the deletion handlers to make sure we're using the correct way to cast these objects on the deletion handlers. But so those fixes are going to come. We're going to have to do another round of patch releases to at least fix attacher and potentially fix the other sidecars if they have the same issue.
Does this only affect the delete?
Yeah.
Does it also affect like
Basic
update?
No,
Okay.
no, it's only on the deletion event handler where the object that gets passed in can be another object that's not the actual object.
Okay.
But yeah, we can, I think the fix is pretty simple. We can just take a look at how the in-tree controllers are casting these objects and just follow that.
I remember that Jan pointed that out to me when I did the storage capacity thing. So it might be that the other sidecars are doing that correctly.
Yep, it's possible. And I guess the thing that surprises me is that we only hit this, we only saw this issue like just now or just yesterday, but like we've been running stress tests for a while. So like, I guess this has to be under especially stressful conditions or something to hit this. But anyway.
Sorry, I missed the reasoning, like why the object is different.
On deletion, it's possible this object is a different type. I need to actually find some code. Maybe we'll look at external provisioner.
You can go to the pkg capacity.go. In the delete function, there is something about cache deleted final state unknown. That's apparently the object type. And then inside that object is another object value that is the actual object that you're interested in.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, we need to check for this cache deleted final state object first before
so
and none of that seems to be documented.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So this is coming from API server.
Yes. Yeah, this is the
Well,
informers.
yeah, it might be a client go side thing where the cache informer does something and it needs to inform its user about this special state. But yeah, I basically learned about that from Jan. I could not find it anywhere in the documentation. So this is one of his tribal knowledge thing that you just have to somehow
Yeah.
accumulate.
So it's kind of random happened, like sometimes.
Yes.
Mm.
I think our suspicion is under stress. When there's a lot of activity happening, then you can get this.
Documentation says like when you miss a delete event and it was enqueued anyway. Yeah, I mean like but many other sidecars don't always use this. Resize controller uses actually the right thing, but other
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we have to do a sweep of all of the sidecars and make sure we're using this properly. This is another argument, Ben, for using controller gen or queue builder.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll, queue builder automatically handles this all for you instead of using informers directly.
Yeah, I've never gotten far enough through the process of building a controller with KubeBuilder to see exactly how much magic there is. But I can imagine that, yeah, this kind of stuff gets swept under the rug.
All right. Sounds good. Going back to our agenda. I think, Patrick, you have a number of PRs out.
Yeah, overall the number is actually surprisingly low now that we have Kubernetes 121 out. But yeah, there are a few things that I would like to get reviewed. The host path thing is just fairly simple deployment changes. One is a follow-up fix to the PR that I just merged from someone else. I started the next PR test infra is for the Kubernetes 121 testing that we now should get started with. It's the same thing that I did for Kubernetes 120. It adds optional jobs that we can try out against our existing repos and then gradually roll that out and enable the 121 testing. While we do that, should we disable testing against 118? I don't remember when we did that, when we had it all running or when we already when we were transitioning.
Yeah, I think either way is fine.
Yeah, let's keep 118 around for a bit longer and disable it when we think it's absolutely really obsolete. Yeah, for the other test infra, that's actually the older one, the permission to retrigger image builds. I'm not sure whether, Michelle, you need to acknowledge it or I just need to ping test infra folks to get it approved. Right now, it just seems to be
Yeah,
stuck.
I thought I might have already LGTM this one, but it might need approval from the release team. Yeah. Oh, maybe I didn't LGTM it. Okay. Anyway, I'll also
there were
take a look at this.
two of them. One is the addition of a team that gets this permission, and this is the actual permission change. So anyway, the other Kubernetes pull request, that is something that you already looked at. I just did another revision. The open question was whether the utility code could go somewhere. I think that's the only open that I'm aware of. And my current understanding is that there's no good place to put API-related utility code that can be consumed by lots of different Kubernetes components.
This is all in tree, right?
Yes.
I think in the past we had a storage utility package under API storage, I think.
Okay.
In the past also, when we shared logic between scheduler and kubelet, like for the node affinity stuff, I think that was in package volume util. That's another place that we could potentially put stuff.
Okay. So right now it's not shared. I'm not sure whether that is a good PR to actually add that or whether I should do that as a follow-up.
I think it's fine
prefer-
to move it as a follow-up.
Yeah, I think that might be
That's
cleaner.
fine. Yeah. But we do have a couple of choices to put
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay. And the last one is basically this one update to the get Kubernetes script. I think it's useful to allow people, if they want to pull in Kubernetes, and the aggressive pruning of a replacement makes that harder. That's what I found when I helped someone doing it. This particular script change adds an option to do it. I'm open to make that non-default. Right now, I revert to the old behavior, and if someone wants a cleaner GoMod file, they can use a switch, because my reasoning was that this is the safer default. If someone who's not familiar with the script uses it, they get the right behavior, or they get a behavior that works, and less surprises that way. I think it makes sense, but I'm
I
open
think
for
that's
other
fine,
arguments.
but I would just document the other option, because I think the other option is what we want to do for all of our sidecars by default.
Yeah. I added documentation to that script, so there's a lot more comments in the script itself about what to do under which
I
circumstances.
mean, also like the README that we have for doing a sidecar
Okay.
release. I think that would be helpful, since we want to do this for all our sidecars.
Okay. I don't think we talk about that at all at the moment, but we could add something. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Okay, and then so I think probably starting on Wednesday, we can start 122 planning. It looks like, oh, is feature freeze actually very soon? Where are the dates?
May 13th.
May 13th.
13th,
That's
yeah.
actually next week.
Next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
um,
Yeah. I don't know why they don't give a little bit more
That's
extra time.
fast. Okay. Yeah, so let's make sure things, I guess we should start that now, even though we don't even have the project board for it. But yeah, all of the features we're planning on adding or promoting in 122, they need to have their KEPs reviewed and merged by next week. So we have Windows. I think Jing, can you start taking a look at that and updating the KEP, since we are going to
Yes.
be targeting GA for that.
Yes.
Does that have still have to go through the CAP review? I thought that one is already just out of tree.
I mean,
release.
it's mostly out of tree, but like we ended up, writing a KEP for it, and I think there were a couple in-tree changes we had to do originally. So I think it's still worth continuing and just, wrapping up the KEP.
So you're saying the API didn't really go through API review?
Correct.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Was there ever a feature gate for it?
Not in Kubernetes.
Okay.
So it's all sort of the Windows support is all implemented in the CSI proxy controller that needs to be installed on all the nodes. And so I think that's the primary way of sort of controlling whether or not the feature is supported or not. But anyway, yeah, we'll want to go through this process and go through the PRR reviews and things like that. Okay, next is volume populators. I think, Ben, you mentioned you're just trying to get schedule time with Tim.
Yeah, I've been trying
And we're
since last
blocked
week.
on that. Okay.
Yeah. Not very optimistic.
Okay. I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and ping Tim and see if we can get something, since the feature fees is coming up very soon. CSI migration. I think the target is for more plugins to turn on by default. I don't think that's going to require like kept changes, but let's go ahead and keep on tracking that. And then we have a number of alpha features here. I guess how are we doing on these? First is node shutdown.
So the node shutdown, actually, a while back, team has already given look good to me on the cap itself. But I think after that, we have several meetings and we made additional changes. I think like from our side, like SIG storage side, and also probably need the node side feedback as well. Just like SIG storage side has to be okay with it. And then, you know, if node side is okay, then we go back to team. So it's like backwards.
Okay. Do we need to schedule a design discussion meeting to progress on this?
But I think the design is, I think do you guys want the POCs to be complete before merging this? I guess that's my question, because there are a couple of things needs to happen, right? So if not, then we can actually just look at how the cap is written now. Are you guys okay with merging that before POC is done?
I think the main purpose of the POC is to sort of detect like what are all the places that would need to change to support this, right?
Right. I guess that will need more time, right? So that's why I was a little hesitant of adding this back to alpha in this. I don't know if it's merging it as like provisional makes sense at all.
Yeah,
or
I think provisional.
Be more comfortable if we just merge it as provisional, and then we don't.
Yeah,
we can do that before doing a POC, or what do you think? If that's the case,
yeah,
I think you still have to get another review to make it implementable.
Yeah, but I just think making it people to feel comfortable, make it implementable. It's kind of not. I was just thinking like in this release, it's just time is really not on our side.
I think that's
and
fine.
I agree that we want the POC before we agree on the design, because I think that there's things missing that we'll discover.
Right. So I guess is there any value of getting that merged as provisional, or do we just want to wait until like everything is done and then we just do it implementable?
I think we can merge it as provisional, but also, you know, note down like all of the things that are still outstanding that need to be done to make it implementable. I think that's fine.
Okay, so do it provisional. I think we don't have to go back to Tim again, right? He actually already gave a look good to me last time. Well back.
Yeah.
Okay, if we can do that, then I guess that's possible. This way, at least we have something there. Then we know that it's change it to implement, but we still need to go a thorough review. And okay, I think that we're making some progress there, because otherwise I feel it's the problem is that every time when you are trying to get something to be alpha, then you have like less than a month of getting that done, and then you need to finish all the implementation in that same release. Difficult. Yeah. So maybe it's actually better.
I agree.
Get this one implement, provisional. Maybe it's better this way.
That's fine. Yeah, I think we can make, incremental progress on this. I think that's good.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have access modes. Is Chris here? Nope. I think so. Chris has a cap out. If folks are interested, please take a look at it. I think I took a brief glance at it and I don't see anything major. Like I don't see any major issues with it. So I think it's probably okay as alpha. If anyone else has concerns, please take a look at it this week. Next up is expansion recovery.
Yeah, so I have a KEP. The KEP was actually, there's one KEP version of KEP at least is merged already, and but we are kind of redesigning it. We had the PR and everything, but we are redesigning it a little bit, or or quite a bit based on recently the pod resizing cap was finalized by some feedback from Tim and our discussion with Signode. We are actually, I would, if we can, if we have time today after this meeting, like, or just right after, if folks can stick around, we can discuss the new design that I have in mind. I'm
All
writing
right.
I'm writing POC to implement that, kind of half there, but yeah, I would like to run through folks.
Sounds good. Okay. And then are we targeting the FS group changes in CSI as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I updated the CSI spec to to be more restrict, and node stage and node publish, they all should receive same value of FS group, and that makes the error handling kind of simpler because you can just say that node, like, you don't have to put two rows in the error handling, just one row is enough. Like if node publish should have same value as node stage and node publish. So, but I'm waiting for basically input from James at this point in time. I think the cap, the sorry, the CSI change looks pretty narrow. It gets us there. It's still alpha. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Hey, Herman, do
Um,
you need the API reviews for these two features that you're working on?
This has no API change actually for FS
Oh,
group.
okay, FS group. Okay.
And
What
it
about
will,
the other one, expansion? That one need the API review, right?
yeah, it will. I have to, the cap is merged. I have to update that cap with the new design, and I will do it today, tomorrow. Like I have to
Yeah,
see.
the merge deadlines, the
Yeah.
15th. Do you
If
just this two? Do you have another one? Somehow you remember you said you have three. Do you have
yeah, no,
another?
there's two actually, and third one, I'm the adding secret for node expansion. I don't think I'll be able to do, but for
Okay.
expansion, there's another one that I have, and that is
Because
it's simple.
we also need to add it to there's a enhancement the tracking sheet. Do
Yeah,
you need
I'll just.
another one?
We need one for copying the allow volume expansion field to PVs actually from for
Oh,
expansion. Yeah, so
okay.
that's
Do you still haven't opened the issue yet?
um I don't know. I don't think we have an issue open, not in
Okay.
Kubernetes enhancement, but yeah. So we are not tracking the add secret to node expansion work this quarter, Michelle. At least I'm not.
okay.
I don't have time or bandwidth to do this. But
So yeah, if you have the issue for the last one, can you send that to me? Because I just want to make sure it's in the enhancement tracking sheet.
okay.
Okay. And going back to the FS group, this is a CSI spec only change, right? So, or at least the in terms of the feature Kubernetes enhancements freeze, we're like okay on this front because nothing has changed.
Yeah, nothing has
Really.
changed in Kubernetes.
Oh, you're saying that there's no cap update for FS group. We don't need cap.
It's the cap is already
Yeah.
merged.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's okay. That's good.
I
So
think
if-
the only thing is we have to bump the numbers, maybe.
Do we? I was
Yeah.
just wondering, do we actually need to track this in the enhancement spreadsheet with no cap change, or do we still need to? Or leave it there?
I think we do need to track it. We
Okay.
need to so that the release team is aware we're targeting this feature, this release, and we
Okay.
also need to update the cap with the new numbers.
Okay.
We still have to do a small change in kubelet to actually supply the value, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
I will, yeah. Okay.
And so for this one, copy the allow volume expansion, is that targeted for this release?
Yes, I think
Okay.
we can. This is relatively simpler. I'm hoping like some
Yeah.
people, volunteers can implement it and we can get the design out.
That requires API
Yeah.
changes.
Although I don't,
That simple.
Yeah, that requires API change. It's not, sorry.
but it's not, shouldn't be complicated, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't be too complicated. It shouldn't be
I
like,
don't know if, do we actually need a whole cap for this? It seems Like a whole cap is a bit overkill, but
Yeah, I think now
I guess
the way they are tracking that, you have to issue, you have to have the separate folder. It's kind of hard to add those small features as a part of a big feature now. It's like every time you make some change, it's like you have to do this whole thing, have an issue, have a cap.
yeah,
Otherwise, I don't know where to make those change.
maybe that's something we can bring up with the enhancements group. Ask them if, small things like this, which are actually sort of part of an overall feature, bigger feature, need a separate cap to track.
Do we need a feature? Do we need a feature gate for this? Well, no, just added it.
For copying the allow element expansion, I haven't decided yet. I was thinking we have had at least some precedence of introducing a field as beta, but I need to check with API machinery if we can get some input. We have to obviously consider the defaulting logic and backward compatibility, but I can talk about that a little bit more when we discuss it should be okay.
All right, sounds good.
Actually, Michelle, can you just add that the owner deletion policy one here? I thought initially it's kind of not necessarily CSI specific, but since we are almost tracking everything here anyway, so that this one also need a cap and all of that. So we need to pay attention to the deadline.
Yep.
Oh, I think it's HON or owner. Always honor the deletion policy instead of.
Oh. All right, sounds good. Anything else that anyone is working on that needs tracking? All right, then we will end the stand up. I think Hamat, you wanted to also discuss some more resizing feature details after this.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Should we meet now?
Yeah, we can meet now. So let's
13 minutes.
let me stop the meeting, and if folks are interested, rejoin the meeting.
Oh, but we do have
that way we can
a
end the
cozy meeting coming in 15 minutes. So that's are you using the same meeting?
Oh,
I think 15 minutes is enough for at least for this informal one. So maybe just we can use the same channel, Michelle, so that.
okay.
If you can you make
Sounds
me a
good.
host? I want to share screen.
Sure. So let's end this meeting so that we can stop the recording.
Okay, I'll just stop.
And then